This is a story that started 6 decades ago. I went to Catholic school from K to 8. That's 9 years. I was an altar boy, I sang in the choir, and I almost thought about being a priest. I was the good boy. I know I was the good boy because my Nana told me so. She also told me that I would be either a priest or a doctor. Well, 50% ain't bad. The next part of my story, some pieces of it are a little bit fuzzy. I had to go to public school. I wasn't, really didn't know anybody. And I was kind of anxious, a little terrified, but, nothing worse. So I get there, and I just wanted to be accepted and and loved or liked. So I was liked by the people in my class. I was in the choir. I got famous for hanging out with the party crowd. Now this is where it gets fuzzy. I wanted to be in the party crowd because I figured that was the best way to be noticed. So I hang out with them, I get in tight, I get into all the parties. I've got the party station wagon, I'm the chauffeur to all the kids. I got more money than God, and I was the life of the party. But there's 2 things that cemented my legacy as being a party animal. I was at a party, and they had a shot contest broke out. And so I'm in the kitchen, and it's me and this other guy. And he's got about 4 ounces of Jack Daniels in a jar. I had like 3 of those. But I decided I'm just gonna go all out, and I picked up the bottle of Jack Daniels, put my head back, and finished mine before he finished his. All my friends came around, pat me on the back, tell me how good I was, that I was this, and I became the shots king. The next thing that happened was, a little on down the road, I was at a friend's house, and I decided to go visit some buddies from work. So the 3 of us were drag racing down Lee Highway in Arlington, doing 125 miles an hour. We got pulled over by the cop. I went to jail for DWI. They got off scot-free. I was put in a paddy wagon, taken to jail. I'm sitting there, I'm waiting for my phone call, and I decided to call my lawyer, my dad. I didn't really want to call my dad because I didn't want to disappoint him. He was my hero. So I called him, he came down, he got me out, he talked to me, he said it could happen to anybody, don't let it happen again. About 6 months later, my hero passed away. At that point, I just kept spiraling down and down to the bottom of my own abyss. I wanted to quit drinking, but I didn't know how. And I kept remembering the words of Dean Wormer. Fat and drunk and stupid are no way to go through life, son. So I kept on drinking for a little bit, never really quit, and cut down a little bit. But then something happened. A friend of mine asked me if I wanted to go on a blind date. And I said, sure. It was a friend of his, and so his date, me and my date, Diane, went to the movies. We did the movie, we did a dinner, a movie, and ice cream. And I thought that was a pretty good date. Me and Diane decided that we were gonna keep on, communicating with each other and see how far we could take this. So a little while later, I had tickets to a concert. We went to go see John Cougar and Hart. and we both decided to dress up. So here I am. I've got my high-heeled boots, or my high-heeled shoes on from the 70s disco era. I had on light blue bell-bottoms, a light blue shirt, and a dark blue blazer. So I go over to Diane's friend's house where she's getting made up. I'm in the basement. Diane comes out of the bedroom, and she is stunning. She's got black high-heeled shoes on. She's got black velvet-like slacks. She's got a purple top on. She's got a hat on her head with a big old plume, purple plume coming out of the band, and I was just taken aback. She was beautiful, and I thought I was the luckiest man in the world. So it turns out she had a daughter, and I knew about the daughter, but I hadn't met her yet. So I was anxious to go meet the daughter, but I was a little bit nervous. So I go to the apartment, I walk in the door, there's this little girl about 2 years old. She's got flaming red hair, she's got big blue eyes, she's got chubby cheeks, and she is beautiful. I mean, she is just out of this world beautiful. And at that moment, I started falling for Diane and for Barbara. I wanted to be their protector. So I became Barbara's pop because her father didn't want her to call me dad or daddy. So she said, we'll just call you Pop. So I became Pop. And I raised her, I took care of her. She helped me out. She helped me and her mom out, actually. A little bit of a while, we had a son, and then we ended up having 3 more children. And Barbara was the teacher, the big sister, the best big sister any sibling can have. And the kids loved her, and I loved her too. She was now my daughter, even though she had a different father. So Barbara and Diane started not getting along real well. So Barbara decided that she was going to go live with her stepmother. So she finally ended up in Spokane, Washington. And I had never been that far in my life. I'd never been to the West Coast. So a few years later, Barbara called and said she's getting married. And I was excited, my ex was excited, my kids were excited, everybody was excited. Flew out to Spokane, stayed with her fiance. The wedding was small. It was awesome though. She had on a white dress with a white veil, and she was just, again, beautiful beyond all words. So, here I am being a pretty proud dad. So we went to the wedding reception, and it was held outside, and the sky was bright blue. There were a lot of stars out. They decorated the backyard with streamers and balloons and colored lights, and everybody was dancing, and I tried to do the Macarena, but I couldn't keep up. But I didn't care. So they go through all the dances, and I'm anxiously waiting for my dance because I want to dance with my daughter. The time finally comes. Barbara grabs me by the hand, she pulls me to the dance floor. We're dancing like a box step. She's got her head on my shoulder, and I'm hugging her tighter than I've ever hugged anybody in my entire life. I really miss that with a passion. We're dancing, and Megan looks at me, and she goes, "Pop, I saved the last dance for you. The best dance was for you." She told me she loved me so much. I told her I loved her too, and I felt like the best dad in the world. That's it.